This letter serves notice that Google LLC has breached the Adsense terms of service and its incorporated policies, which constitute the contract between Google and my company, Geld Media LLC. Unless Google fully performs its duties under the contract within 30 days, Geld Media will file litigation to enforce its provisions. All right, so I'm back with an update. If you saw my last video, you know that 2 weeks ago, Google permanently demonetized this YouTube channel based on the false allegation that its Adsense account was related to some other banned account. And of course, they refused to give me any evidence supporting these claims. In that video, I mentioned that so far I haven't been able to contact anyone at Google who can fix this mistake. And I hope that by amplifying my story on social media that I could get the attention of someone, anyone at Google or YouTube who could help. Now, the support that video received so far has been incredible. I mentioned that I was feeling kind of really alone on this issue, and the wonderful comments and this huge like to view ratio that you guys left on that video has absolutely meant the world to me. So if you liked that video or you retweeted my tweet, I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, thank you. I did end up hearing from 2 other YouTubers who reached out after seeing that video to tell me that Google closed their Adsense accounts with the same false allegation that their accounts were allegedly related to some other account. And I'm guessing there are many more YouTubers similarly situated, which certainly raises questions about whether Google is performing their duties under the contract with reasonable care and good faith. But I'll save that for a later video. I also got a tweet from @TeamYouTube saying they were looking into the matter, but after publicly pretending they were doing something useful, they slid into my DMs to say that, yeah, there's nothing they could do. In the interest of transparency, I immediately tweeted a screenshot of their DM. Pause the video here if you want to read it. So unfortunately, as of the time I'm uploading this video, I haven't heard from anyone who can fix this. And to be honest, I didn't really expect to at this point. Even though this channel has 100K subs, I'm not that active on the channel, so the vast majority of my subscribers, they're less engaged than channels with similar numbers. It was always part of my plan that once Google missed their first contractually obligated payment, that I would send them this demand letter. Even though there's no requirement that I need to send such a letter before filing a lawsuit, I want to do everything I can to resolve this without spending the time and money on unnecessary litigation. Speaking of which, it's time for a quick legal disclaimer. Though I am an attorney and member of the California Bar, I am not your attorney. None of what I say in this video should be construed as legal advice, and no attorney-client relationship exists between us. All analysis applies purely to the wrongful termination of my company's Adsense account, and if your Adsense account was closed, you should consult with an attorney as the facts and applicable law may be different in your situation. So with that said, frankly, I wouldn't listen to me anyway. I've never practiced contract law, and I've been working as a software developer and IT manager for like the last 10 years. So make of that what you will. In fact, given my inexperience, should the need for litigation arise, I'll be looking to hire an attorney with experience litigating in Santa Clara County to provide maybe 10 to 20 hours of consulting on this matter. So if that's you, please reach out. Okay, let's go back to the demand letter. I posted a link to it down in the description along with another blog post summarizing my latest thoughts on the matter. I'm not going to go through it word for word, but I did want to lay out why I believe Google has breached the contract and why I think I would actually have a really strong case were this to proceed to litigation. Now, to bring a claim for breach of contract in California, you have to prove 4 elements. 1, that there is a contract. Now, in this case, you have the Adsense terms of service, and it incorporates all of these Adsense policies. I don't think there's any disputing that that is the contract. 2, the plaintiff, the one who's doing the suing, which in this case would be my company, Geld Media, did all or substantially all of the significant things that the contract required it to do. Now, as we know, Google is alleging that my company violated these Adsense policies by being related to another banned account. But, as I continue to maintain, as a factual matter, that is simply not true. There is no such relation. If Google's mistaken, as I allege, then my company was at all times performing under the contract, and this element is met. Moving on to the 3rd element, you must prove that a defendant, Google in this case, had an obligation to perform under the contract that it did not perform. In other words, they breached the agreement. Now, in this case, the contract states very clearly, if your account is in good standing through the time when Google issues you a payment, we will pay you by the end of the calendar month, blah, blah, blah. Basically, the money you earned for ads ran on your properties last month will be paid by the end of the next month. So in this case, Google owed my company $486.58 by July 31st, 2021. And as of the date of this video, August 3rd, they have failed to pay. Of course, Google would argue that my account is not in good standing due to the related account allegation, but again, that alleged relation doesn't exist. Therefore, as a factual matter, my account was in good standing. Therefore, by not paying timely, Google's failed to perform under its obligated duties, and this element is met. Of course, the 4th element is that the defendant's breach caused the plaintiff damage. Here we have the obvious direct damages of the withheld $486.58. Now, for those of you saying, surely this is never going to survive a motion to dismiss, I actually thought the same thing. When I started researching this issue, I figured the Adsense contract, it must be ironclad, and Google's army of coolie law guys who make more in a week than I make in a year will absolutely destroy me on a motion to dismiss. Well, Hold on a minute. I'd like to direct your attention to free-range content v. Google. In that case, a number of Adsense publishers had their accounts closed after Google detected invalid click activity on their websites. The publishers sued, alleging, among other things, that Google breached the Adsense terms of service by withholding their Adsense revenue from the prior month. Incredibly, the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of California denied Google's motion to dismiss on the breach of contract claim, essentially stating that Google did not prove as a matter of law that the plaintiffs failed to perform under the contract, which is exactly what I'm arguing in my demand letter. Google eventually settled the free-range case as a class action for $11 million, which is actually really low. I'm guessing Google's profited at least an order of magnitude more than that over the years from these questionable account closures. So now we wait to hear something, anything from Google regarding the demand letter. If we don't, then I'll be filing a lawsuit for breach of contract and related causes of action at the beginning of September in beautiful Santa Clara County, California, which, given my lack of litigation experience, it's going to be interesting. Either way, I'll be sure to post an update on this channel, so make sure you're subscribed, and be sure to follow me on Twitter at Ben Bierstrom for more frequent updates. And with that, I'll leave you with the closing paragraph from my demand letter. Despite my best efforts, I have been unable to contact anyone with the authority to review this issue. It seems that Google has done this by design to save administration costs, leaving litigation as the only viable alternative. That Google, with an almost $2 trillion valuation, would waste the court's valuable resources instead of providing basic customer service to resolve their mistakes is shameful.